Welcome to my channel. Today we have another Mafia turn-based strategy game called One Bullet, One Order. And this one is an interesting one. It has 250 60-bit color graphics, and also it's from a new developer. So if you've been following the channel for a while, we've covered quite a few Mafia games already. But most of those were from a certain developer. This one is from someone new. So I'm interested to see how they did. The game starts with a kill scene, and our protagonist here is someone who was just released from prison after serving 10 years, and then we immediately go into a battle against some gangsters. Now, you can move your character around freely in these battles, which isn't something that you get to do very often in Mafia games. But there are no special actions like shooting or anything. It's strictly turn-based movement only. And even though the battle didn't really last that long, I still felt a bit of tension because of that music. You know, it's good. After this, we go back to the guy is now back home, and he gets a visit from his old friend Joe, who is telling him that his wife was killed and he wants revenge. That leads to another battle, except this time the player character doesn't actually fight. Instead, we get to see what his thoughts are during the battle. He remembers when he was younger and much more ruthless. And at the end of it all, he decides that he does want to help Joe get revenge. And so they go off together. Now, once again, this is all done through cutscenes, which is a nice touch. The story seems to be pretty solid. However, I do think that this type of story would have been possible if it was unit for the fact that we can move the character around freely in those battle sequences. Otherwise, this would have just been a normal turn-based strategy game. But because we can move them around, the cutscenes make much more sense. They arrive at the place where the wife was killed, and we get to meet the family members who thankfully are not stupid. They're well aware of the fact that someone is coming to get them. In fact, right away one of them suggests to just kill the guy right now. However, the boss tells him to wait for a bit because he wants to gloat a little bit more. So we get to hear about how he killed a woman, and yeah, he basically thought that he would be able to get away with it. He's a pretty charismatic guy, even though he's a complete psychopath. But hey, sometimes you get those in real life too. At this point, we take control of our characters and we start to plan our attack. Now, normally in Mafia games, you can issue commands to your party members, but in this case, you cannot. Every single character only acts on their own. We can choose what weapon we want to use, whether we want to shoot with it or throw it, and whether we want to try and stun the enemy with it. However, if you throw a weapon, you won't be able to pick it up again. So keep that in mind. Also, whenever you're throwing a weapon, it will have to land in an empty tile. So basically, you have to predict where that's going to land and hope that the opponent doesn't do anything funny in the meantime. If you hit a character with a weapon, you will stun them for 1 round. And if you hit the boss, he will become enraged for 2 rounds. So in this first battle, we decided to try and go for the boss first. However, that didn't work out all that well because he just kept on healing himself. So instead, we decided to focus on his bodyguards. Thankfully, we had brought along a lot of silenced pistols. So even though the battle was fairly difficult, we were able to pull through. After everyone else was dead, we focused on the boss again. And this time, it worked out a lot better. It turned out that the boss only had 1 health left anyway, so he didn't live to tell the tale. You might notice that there are these little icons above each character's head. Those show you what state they're in. For example, this one means that he's enraged. This one means that he's stunned. These 2 mean that he's under the effect of a certain ability. And this one means that he's dead, obviously. Oh, and this little lightning bolt shows you what tile a grenade will explode in. Now, every single character has a unique set of abilities. So, for example, the sniper can obviously only shoot from far away, while someone like the enforcer has a lot more health, but he also has these abilities that allow him to make other characters move towards him. And you can see that when I picked up this Tommy gun here. It showed me exactly what abilities I had available to me. Now, if you ever want to see what abilities your characters have, you can always go into the pause menu and then go to abilities. That's where you can find it. Speaking of menus, we also have a few other ones. First, there's the main menu where you can restart, save, load, adjust the settings, and view the achievement. There's also the inventory, which is split into 3 different tabs: weapons, mods, and effects. Under weapons, you can see what weapons you have available to you and how many of them you have. Now, if you want to equip a certain weapon, you just select it here and then click on the character you want to equip it to. Now, some weapons have mods associated with them, and you can see those in this tab here. But keep in mind that these aren't just cosmetic mods. Some of them can actually change the stats of a weapon, so don't underestimate them. And finally, we also have the effects tab, which shows us what negative effects we currently have active. As soon as we killed the boss, we gotta watch another cutscene. Things weren't exactly what we expected, but I don't want to spoil anything. Let's just say that we have now made one big enemy. After this, we get to recruit a new character, which is great because we desperately needed some more firepower. Luckily, she agreed to join us right away. We then traveled to the next location, which is the docks. Here, the guys send us a message and ask us to come over. They want to talk. Now, before we get into that, I should mention that you can explore these maps freely. There are things to find lying around, like weapons or money. Money is used to buy new weapons or mods, and it can be found by searching certain tiles. So make sure to do that whenever you get the chance. Sometimes there's nothing there, but every now and then you do get lucky. Now, when we arrived at the docks, we had another cutscene. Our guys were ambushed, and even though our new recruit managed to survive, she did take some damage. At least now we know why they wanted to talk to us. They wanted revenge. So now we have another battle on our hands. I honestly couldn't tell you what exactly happened here. All I know is that we had to protect our character, so we focused on moving him into a position where he could survive. Meanwhile, our sniper went ahead and picked off the enemies one by one. Thankfully, this battle wasn't too hard, so we ended up winning it without anyone having to worry about their lives. After this, we get yet another cutscene. I'm starting to think that this game may have too many Not that I hate cutscenes or anything, but it feels like we're barely playing the game ourselves. I mean, we're barely making any decisions. Still, I do want to see where this story goes, so I guess it's not that bad. At this point, we go back to the base, and we get to heal up, and we also get to upgrade our characters. Upgrading them costs money and experience. Experience is gained by defeating enemies. We chose to upgrade the sniper, so now she does more damage, has more accuracy, and has better reload speed. Then we go back to the map and we go to the warehouse district. When we arrive, we have another cutscene. The boss is here in person this time, and he doesn't seem to be very happy about what happened at the docks. He decides to leave it up to his son to handle us. So we get to face him in another battle. This guy is actually really tough, so we had to bring our A game in order to defeat him. Luckily, we had a lot of heals with us, so we were able to drag the battle out until we defeated him. At this point, I think we've had enough cutscenes for one day. Instead, we get to watch an extended cutscene, which plays more like a movie. I won't say anything more about it. I don't want to spoil the story for you. I'll just say that it was a nice way to end the game. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent game. It's not perfect by any means, but I think it's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of the genre. I personally would have liked it if we had more control over our characters and if there were less but other than that, I had a pretty fun time. That being said, I can't really recommend this game to anyone who doesn't like turn-based combat. If you prefer real-time combat, this game is not for you. That would be all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you want to subscribe, that would be lovely.